All right, everyone. Welcome to July 20th's edition of Kubernetes SIG Docs. I am Paris. You have probably maybe never seen me before. Some people maybe have seen me before, depending on what Kubernetes channels you're tuned into. I sit on the Kubernetes steering committee. I also used to co-chair an awesome group called Contributor Experience for 2 years. So I've done this chair thing a few times. I'm filling in for Jim Angel, who is the most wonderful chair ever. Fortunately, I will never live up to Jim's awesomeness, so hold tight. But the reason why I am here, though, is SIG Docs is going through a growing period where we need more chairs. And I'm going to be filling in for at least the next 2 to 3 months with some meetings and things like that, some very light stuff. But I wanted to give that as a high level as we start this meeting, because if you are looking to grow in the SIG, I'm willing to mentor, train, and do sort of group mentoring if you're interested in growing the contributor ladder here. We can talk a little bit about that later on in the meeting, but I know we have a ton of SIG Docs related work. I know Tim's on the call, and we'll get going now. So first things first, we do have a code of conduct. Please be excellent to each other, of course. And as I mentioned before, 9 times out of 10, I'm most likely not going to know what's going on in your world. So feel free to give context or say hello to me. I would love to get to know all of you, especially if I'm going to be here for, like I said, at least 2 to 3 months with y'all hanging out. So yeah, feel free to tell me if you're a sub-project owner or an approver or someone that writes blog posts, anything like that. I would love to get to know y'all. So first things first, do we have any new contributors that would like to introduce themselves? I see Perniswa in chat. Feel free to come off of mute and or video, say hello to us, and same with anybody else here that's new for the first time. All right. That means we have a ton of you that have been here before. Okay, so now that means that's all right. Now I've got a lot of people to know, to find out and learn about. So I'm really excited to get to know all of you. There are a couple of updates and reminders that Jim put in for me in the agenda. Also, let me go ahead and lazy web the agenda to y'all in chat. So who's this week's PR wrangler? And if you could say hey to me, that would be awesome if you're on. No?
It's Chi-Ming, but he's on a different, he's in the APAC region, so.
Ah, okay, cool. All right. And then who's got an upcoming PR wrangler shift? Just so again, so I get to know you. I'm looking at the PR wrangler list right now. Let's see, what week is this? It's July 20th, I think. July, there we go. Zach, and I think it sounds like Celeste might be filling in next week for Zach. After that is another Zach. Is Zach Arnold still around? I haven't seen Zach Arnold's name in a minute.
We should check in with Zach too, Zach Arnold, to make sure that they're happy to be the PR
We'll
wrangler.
check in with Zach to make sure Zach's still good with that one. And then the following week is Savitha. I'll check in with her too. I'll just check in about 3 weeks, 3 weeks ahead of time. And if folks on the line are curious as to what a PR wrangler is, this is someone who, this is an approver, someone who can approve PRs and is helping us clear the PR queue and making sure all of your stuff isn't sitting in a black hole and helping you get through the process. So, all right. And then agenda, we've got release 122 stuff. Who is the release liaison? And say hi to me, please.
That would be me. Hello.
Hey. Want to give us a quick update?
Yes. So our status is yellow, mostly because the integration branch is currently broken. There are some conflicts. I intend to fix them today. Other from that, today is also the deadline for ready for review for pull requests on K website for 122. We have 6 drafts that or work in progress PRs that need to be basically ready. I assume that they will miss the deadline. At least some of them depends on if at the end of this, at the end of today, anyone will reply. But if I don't get any kind of replies, I will reach out to the enhancement owners via Slack tomorrow. Other from that, we have currently 24 pull requests that are ready for review and 22 that are merged. Once the deadline will be over, we will start to review as many as possible out of those 24 PRs, so we can get as many as of them merged. And yes, I think that's pretty much it from us.
Anything that you need from this group, Victor?
No, we're good. Everything is fine. Yep.
Okay. And then does anyone else have any business that they'd like to bring up to the meeting? Whether things that you're working on, something that you're blocked with, anything else related to something that you're working on that you'd like to talk about? We don't have anything else on the agenda. I know we have a discussion from Tim. I wanted to see if we had any other business. Quiet group this week. I scared everyone away. Everybody's like, oh, what's going on here? Oh, it's getting serious.
There's something I'd like to ask about if you have,
Sure,
if we have a minute.
Chris, shoot.
So a lot of times I haven't done a whole lot of PRs, but I've done a few. And a lot of times what happens is like you get the buy-in, the docs people are really quick. They get in there and they give you all their comments. And then they say, oh, now we'd like to get an expert from SIG whatever. And then it just sits like forever. And maybe a short period of time, maybe a long period of time, but it's different. Is there, have we thought about different like tactics or something to get maybe show up at a meeting and say, hey, we have 12 PRs for docs that we would love this organization to this SIG to help us with. So that's kind of what I was thinking. Have we tried a concerted effort to say, hey, we're waiting on you guys and finding ways to get them to respond more quickly, because they're all very important people and they're busy people, and docs is probably not the first thing they're thinking of. So any thoughts on that?
So I have a few strategies in the past that I've used. One is when you could add on the GitHub comment, you could add the SIG-PR-reviews for tech review. Sometimes that works. Also, my next approach usually works the best, which is going to that SIG Slack channel, and I go to the SIG's in the K community repo. The SIG will have a file of all the reviewers of that SIG, and so I would add all those folks. And I would also, and if it's tied to a KEP, I would go to the kep.yaml, and the kep.yaml might have tech reviewers and reviewers. So I would add all those folks as well. So it is a little bit of a process finding the information on who the SIG owners are, or the SIG chairs are, and going into the KEP and finding the reviewers and tech reviewers of that KEP as well. But that has worked the best for me.
Okay, yeah, I guess that's a good, Slack is probably a really good thing for people who might respond immediately, right? As opposed to something that's just might be in their queue somewhere and not even realize that they've been pinged on it.
Yeah, and my last my last tactic, or my last, I guess when I wouldn't call it tactic, but my last step would be finding out what company that person is with. And I would go to a friend of mine. Usually there's people you would know that work in the same company, and they would help me ping them in their internal messaging system. So that's my last resort.
Oh, that's a good idea. Okay.
I have a question, Ray. Did you folks use this liaison program in the enhancements team, where you basically reach out? It's supposed to be sort of like an experiment for, at least for this release, where each SIG should have a liaison that interacts with SIG release, or kind of like tries to shield people or tries to forward important topics to the SIG. I only got three people, I think, contacts from 3 people, and from 3 SIGs. I think it was SIG network, SIG release, and SIG node, and something else. I'm not sure.
Yeah, we have the same liaisons as well. Not all the SIGs participated in, and yeah, we have the same 3 liaisons. And just bear in mind that the liaisons themselves might be new to the community, so they may not know who the proper enhancement owners, reviewers, and tech reviewers are too. So it might be just a little bit of a hand holding for the next few releases.
Okay, that makes sense now. Thank you.
Yeah.
Tim, I feel like you have some advice.
Well, I mean, Ray and Victor have more information about the release process. I kind of agree with what Ray said about, how you would engage with another SIG. I mean, one thing you can do is you can escalate it to a technical lead like me or Karen Branch, one of the technical leads for the SIG, and say, hang on, we need some help. You can take it to this weekly meeting and say whatever. And there is, of course, a PR wrangler, and you can contact the PR wrangler and say, I'd like to get this moving. What's the best step? All of those are valid. Yeah, I mean, if things are really not going well, there's some mechanisms we can use, some escalation mechanisms, but I don't think we'll ever need them. Like if we were to sort of take things more formally, but I don't see the point in engaging that way. I think what Ray said was going to work better and has always worked eventually for me.
Yeah. I don't get the feeling it's anything malicious at all. It's just that they either don't notice or it never rises to the top of their queue. It's really just a way to say, how do we wake them up so they'll come look at this thing? Because a lot of times it'll be something simple too. That they just and it won't ever get approved because it's sitting there, right, with saying, hey, we need an approval from this SIG or something like that.
I guess the other thing I'd say on this is that it's not just the PR wrangler that does approvals in a week. That doesn't scale very well. So the PR wrangler is there to catch that tail and sweep up. But if they're doing all the sweeping, that's a problem we need to address. And really, I think if we got a bigger pool of reviewers, or we got more reviewing done, you wouldn't see that backlog because we'd be more effective at liaising.
Got it. Thanks.
Chris, what's been your experience with trying to reach folks in some of the SIG Slack channels?
I haven't really tried. I really, since I've really only been participating actively for the last few months, so I'm really trying. I want to get the protocol too. I don't want to just be someone who's, oh, there's that annoying guy again, So I want to make sure I'm doing the protocols right. So I'm not just randomly going after everybody. So
You're doing great. You're doing great. By that, the first thing's asking, and that's awesome. So we come to the right place.
And you're never going to be that annoying guy. I mean, the whole point is moving a release forward. So
cool. Okay. Yeah, no, that's good advice. I will try some of these techniques you guys are suggesting.
And then anyone else with any business, and then Tim, you're on deck. All right. I don't have any business, but it is only 8 of you, and I would really like to just get a small intro, if that's okay, from all of you. I know, like just appease me, right? Like just a really quick small intro. And then just punt it to someone else. I'll call your name. Feel free to punt it to anybody. It can be as small as your first name and pass it on. But I would love to know what you've contributed to and like what I could call on you for and things like that, especially if you're an expert in any area. So I'm gonna kick it to Nate W. Nate, are you listening?
Oh, how's it
Hey,
going?
hey Nate. Nice to meet you.
I'm nice to meet you, Paris. I think this is the first time I've been in a meeting with you. I'm Nate Waddington. I am a developer advocate focusing on documentation with the CNCF. So I work with the Tech Docs crew, Celeste Horgan, and
Nice.
all those folks. Yeah.
Nice. So let's kick it to Christopher Metz.
Yeah, hey Paris, how you doing?
Hey.
I guess the couple of things I'm working on is I originally worked on a very good first issue with Mermaid, and then since I'm sort of a diagram guy with some of the documentation I've done for both some internal projects as well as some external open source projects, I thought I'd work on that a bit, and particularly in the open PR documentation. I think it can be intimidating for folks that are trying to get a handle on that. So I thought some simple diagrams might help. I crafted a document on how to use Mermaid. I had forwarded that or socialized that with a couple of folks, and Anna suggested I open a PR as well. So net, I have an open PR to add some Mermaid diagrams to the open PR documentation. And then I thought somewhere we could stick this how to do Mermaid diagrams. And I think if we encourage folks to use that or even existing tools, or even how to get an idea on the correct procedures for creating and implementing diagrams into much of the documentation, I think will make it a lot more readable.
I love knowing that we have more folks here than just word folks. So visual folks for the win. Woo! Hello, Christopher. All right. So Chris, you just spoke to Chris Negus. I know you're only been contributing for a few months, but tell me a little about yourself.
Sure. I used to be mostly just a Linux writer. I wrote books on Linux for decades, and then I started doing Docker containerization, and then Kubernetes and OpenShift for a few years. And now I'm at Amazon Web Services, and I'm told I can do pretty much anything open source that I want, and I want to do Kubernetes. So that's why I showed up here. And my first thing I would suggest anybody, if anybody's watching this and want to do your first PR, don't try to do a massively large page on your first PR, which is what I did. But thankfully, people like Tim and Ray and several others, the production environment page, I wrote from scratch. It was just a bunch of links, and they helped me through with that. So
that is dope.
Yeah.
In fact, Chris, you updated a section. That was you picked a section for your first change.
Yeah, it was.
Bravo.
It was. Yeah, it was stupid, but it got through, and thanks to you guys, really. And since then, I've been trying to do smaller things and look for opportunities. That's about it.
Awesome. And then I'm gonna put Tim on the spot. I already know Tim, but Tim.
Cool.
How long have you been with us now, by the way? Tell you what,
I have an API for that.
What?
Well, I'm gonna look at GitHub. I have the page open. Takes a while. My first PR was in 2018, November 2018. I was learning Kubernetes because I wanted to pass my CK8. Yeah, I'm gonna share that view actually. There you are, back in 2018, and if we switch to the open, I have too much work in progress, I think. It's my big challenge with SIG Docs contributions is like my code contributions are all work in progress, and they need not to be. So I am a technical lead of SIG Docs. So all special interest groups for Kubernetes have chairs, and they can also have like administrative helpers and technical leads. In fact, I think they have to have at least one technical lead. We have several. I am one of them. So the technical leads for SIG Docs do things like admin the system we use for publishing the content, Netlify, technically review changes like major changes to the site, to the mechanism. If we were to switch from Hugo static site generator or from the Doxy theme, that would go for, that would want a review from a technical lead or a chair. And another thing that I think is important is that tech leads try to help new contributors or indeed contributors on any stage of their journey get involved in SIG Docs and to level up their skills and their ability to contribute. I was going to say what I do for a living. I'm an IT consultant. I work for a UK company called The Scale Factory, which works for Amazon Web Services, or not works for. Our customers use Amazon Web Services, and we give them advice on how to do it, that kind of thing. So this isn't my main role. My main role is the consultancy, but I do this on the side, and I enjoy it. It's helped me learn an awful lot about Kubernetes. I'm going to throw to Ray. Ray, over to you.
Hello. So I was the 1.21 release docs lead, currently in the enhancements team, and I'm going to be the 123 release lead coming up in August. I actually met you, Paris, in San Diego, KubeCon 2019. You had a diversity luncheon. And that's actually how I got started. I was at Taylor's table and talked to him, and he said, yeah, and he said he was, yeah, he did stuff with SIG Docs and got started with that. Yeah, so I also participate in other SIG release. Also, I'm a sub-project owner with SIG Security. So I've handled a few different SIGs here and there. Professionally, I work with SUSE by way of Rancher Labs, and we have I'm an engineer there, so we have a few open source projects, Rancher, KubeWarden, Harvester for HCI. So lots of different fun stuff.
Yes, that is so awesome. That is so great. That's so great, Ray. I was like, I knew, I mean, obviously I knew I've seen you around the KubeCon block, but thank you for the specific pinpoint there. Who are you kicking it to?
Victor?
Yes, hello. So I'm a software engineer. I worked for, coincidentally, for AT&T and Red Hat at kind of at the same time with Chris. Currently, I don't really use Kubernetes anymore. At least in my day-to-day, it's not really doesn't happen that often. I used to be part in Red Hat of the developer experience team in OpenShift, so that's kind of where I got started. And yeah, I mean, I kind of wanted to contribute to Kubernetes because it really offered me some really good opportunities in my career. Since 2015, I was able to land really good jobs just because of this project, basically. So that's one of the reasons why I'm here. That's one of the reasons why I will still be here. I'm currently the docs lead for 122, and I was a shadow under Ray in 121. Moving forward, I will probably stick around SIG Docs after the release, which will happen on 4th of August. And I would like to contribute to SIGNode. I think I'm not sure yet. I need to see. I need to find a role with more programming, I guess.
Awesome. I love that you're still hanging out with us, even though you're not necessarily using Kubernetes during the day. That's a lot. We see a lot of contributors that come and go, and a lot of them say like, oh, I'm not doing it, you know, as part of my day job anymore, and unfortunately don't contribute. So thanks for sticking around. That's so important.
Anytime.
I think that's everyone. Well, actually, Pernswar, if you'd like to say anything. If not, I know folks. Then, if I ever put y'all anybody on the spot, tell me to take a hike. You feel free to not say anything, but would love to say hello to you. I think that's it. Did I miss anybody else?
Hello. Hello,
Hey,
hello.
Bar. Hey,
I'm audible.
you are good.
Hi. Hi,
Hey,
everyone. Hello, I'm Purneshwar and I'm from India. And this is my first meeting in a Kubernetes SIG. And I found this SIG Docs like something relatable. Like since I'm a complete beginner in this field, and I just wanted to come here and enjoy the community once. So yeah, just I'm here, and till now it felt awesome. And I'd like to have my first PR or my first issue or just learn from the community. And yeah, excited.
we would love to have you stick around. There's tons of stuff that you can get involved with, help wanted wise and good first issue wise. Tim even gave you some good stuff in the chat. So this is a great place to get started and figure out what other SIGs, especially some of the like intensive SIGs, like Victor just said, SIG Node. That's one of our, in my opinion, super intensive SIG. But anything you need, just ping us on the Slack channel. Cool.
For sure, for sure.
Tim, did you have anything else that you wanted to add for today before we close down the shop?
So what I've done before when we've had a new person who's joined the meeting and said that they are new and would like questions is I've said, right, we'll use the end of the meeting as a sort of new contributor, ask me anything. And this isn't a regular scheduled thing. It's completely unscheduled. It's like, oh, a new person, let us help you.
Awesome. All right.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So yeah, Perniswar, I'm probably saying your name wrong, but please feel free to ask questions and we will try and help.
Nah, it's okay.
Anything you want to know about? Any questions?
Nah, it's all good for now. Like I just came here like for the first time and I just wanted to interact with the community and know what all goes around. So yeah, I'm trying to learn Kubernetes and all the whole things behind cloud native and all technologies. So it's I'm basically in my final year of my engineering. So it's kind of hectic to manage everything all by the side. So yeah, I'm going slow. But yeah, I really want to do something for this community. Looking forward to it. Stoked.
Cool.
Well, I do have an announcement. It's a general community announcement, but we are indeed having a contributor summit at the next KubeCon. All of you here are contributors for the project, so please go to, it's Kate's K8S. I'm going to write it in chat as well. Kates.dev/summit. There it is. We are trying to have it as a hybrid event. It will most likely be unconference. There is capacity restraints. It will sell out. So this is at KubeCon in Los Angeles in a few months. I was going to say at the end of this year, but technically in a few months. And that's really it for me.
I will just add, and thank you, Paris, for that announcement. I'm going to try and go. One thing I wanted to say, in the chat here and in the SIG channel, I've put a link to a video that some of us did about getting started with SIG Docs.
We should put that at the top of the agenda too, Tim. That's like a wealth. That's like a gold mine right there.
That is not a bad idea. See, this Paris knows a thing or two.
I'm so happy to be here, y'all. It's been such a minute since I've hosted anything outside of governance. So I'm so happy to see all your faces. If you need any advice at all, please, like I said, DM me. All right, that's it. Next week, it's Jim again. And then after that, it will be me again. So I'll see you soon. Bye, everybody.